It's Nadia, the astrologer, for people who do not believe in astrology, or at least don't mind listening to an astrologer who doesn't. Today I am still a little bit sick, but I will start a series of videos that I call Adulting by the Zodiac. In this series of videos, I will tell you about how the 12 zodiac signs change as they age, as they mature. It will be necessarily minimalistic and general, as in not individualized. In individual work, I have a whole natal chart to work with lots of different planets and celestial bodies. Gives me more information, so the developmental trajectory can be very different if I look at the natal chart. But if we only have the zodiac sign to play with, or also possible, the birthday without the year, just the date, the day. There's already surprisingly a lot I can tell you about how you change as you mature, as you age, that you will not hear anywhere else. So, the idea it is based on is not new to astrology. In general, not a secret that as we age with time, we change in certain aspects and we remain the same in certain other aspects, right? In astrology, it's reflected in the use of mechanisms that we use to describe the person's life at a certain moment in their life, right? So first, we have the natal chart. You get one as you are born, right? And it remains with you your whole life. It's basically information about where different celestial bodies were in the solar system in the moment of your birth. Looking from the Earth, it's an Earth-centric system. So this does not change, this is your astrological DNA. But that's not all, because there are also your own charts that are more developmental. One is called solar arc, the other one is called secondary progressions. They are both very important. They are both, at the moment of your birth, identical to the natal chart, but with time, as you get older, they change a little bit. And the cool thing about it is that those two developmental charts, they're very different. They give us different information, but there's one thing they agree on, and this is what's happening to the sun as you age. And in astrology, sun is responsible for the self, the personality we are consciously working with or on, right? The narrative we are building. It's hugely important, right? And it turns out that those two very different developmental charts, they agree on how those psychological functions or features that the sun is responsible for are changing with time. Great, so how does it work? Let's blow it up a little bit. Let's say you are born a Gemini. So this is your sun is in Gemini, it means you're in Gemini. And your natal chart will remain here your whole life. But there's also another thing, the progressed sun or the solar arc sun. It's the same thing. And the moment you're born, it's in the same place. But as you age, it moves a little bit. First, in the sign in which your natal sun is. And those years in which the progressed sun is at the same sign as the natal sun, I call astrological kindergarten. This is the time when your personality and your circumstances are more or less aligned. It's when you don't have to expand beyond yourself. You just learn to be yourself, right? This stage can last for anywhere between 0 and 30 years, depending on your date of birth. So let's say you are an early Gemini, you were born on the 21st of May. It means that the progressed sun will have something like 28 or 29 years to go through the sign, depending on year of birth, place, whatever. But if you are a late Gemini, let's say you were born on the 20th of June, it will have something like 1 year, maybe 2 years to go through this wonderful stage, right? If you were born, I don't know, in the middle, maybe 14 years, 15 years, something like that. So at some point, your progressed sun will pass through Gemini and will move into the next sign, Cancer. And you remain a Gemini, but you will have to learn to deal with the circumstances that are more Cancerian. And you will have to adapt to, fulfill the task that are more Cancerian. You will have to, for example, control some of the Gemini character traits that are not helpful. You will learn to develop new traits or skills that are helpful. And at first, there's almost always a mismatch between who you are and what you need to do, right? But with time, you learn and you expand and you grow, and it's great, it's good. And usually the process lasts 30 years. It means that it will take 30 years for the progressed sun to go through the next sign independently on your date of birth, always 30 years. And this I call astrological school. It's a more developmentally advanced stage. It's a more developmentally challenging stage, right? But yeah, there's a lot to learn, and you learn and you grow, and it's usually for the best. So after the progressed sun passed through the next sign, here it's Cancer, it moves into the next sign for another 30 years. This I call astrological university. This can be a more pleasant time, like in life, at least with people I know, they usually enjoyed university more than they enjoyed school. But astrologically, why it's more pleasant is because the sign after the next one usually has a better affinity with your own. So for Gemini, Cancer does not have a good affinity, but Leo is a better affinity, right? So let's come to, our example, the Gemini, right? After it has suffered 30 years of Cancerian tasks and circumstances, it's finally allowed to go into the more leonine situations and challenges, right? And it's also learning, it's also expansion, but it usually comes easier. Even if the circumstances are challenging, there's usually more congruence, affinity between who the person is on the inside, what comes easy to them, what's natural for them, and what they actually are required to do to thrive. So this is Astrological University, and I will be making 12 videos, one for each sign, in which I will explain what those astrological kindergarten, astrological school, astrological university is for every sign, and also at which point in your life are you making this transition depending on your birthday. So yeah, hopefully it will be interesting for you, and see you in the next videos.